News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
So if you're listening to this anywhere between San Diego and the Canadian border, there's a very good chance that the sky is smoky and ashy and you can at least smell the wildfires from wherever you are. We have some footage for you if you haven't seen this yet. It is just burning up and down the coast of California, Oregon. Just to give you some numbers, let's see here. Oh, the Creek Fire, that's a big one near the Sierra Nevada mountains. Among the worst right now, burning 167,000 acres and no containment. This, what I'm showing you right now, you may have seen it. It's drone shots of San Francisco during the day. And people are posting these everywhere. They said, if you didn't believe in Armageddon or the apocalypse before, check out what I'm looking at through my window. People have their car lights on. You can't see.
It looks like there's some sepia tone filter on your camera.
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Well, funny you should say that, Brian, because that's exactly what this is. Somebody did the drone shot and put the Blade Runner music under it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Clever.
It seems like all we do is we go, we got to cut down on carbon emissions and greenhouse gases and blah, blah, blah. And we got to, we're coming out of the tailpipe, or we need power plants that run off of, we need to produce power with wind and solar and whatever. And then every year there's just a huge fire and we just belch all this stuff into the sky. And it seems like, I don't know, does that undo all that we're trying to do? How does this work? I mean, how much more shit could get into the air than now?
These fires are more of a cause of climate change than they are an effect of it.
How's that work?
The amount of harmful gases that are released into the atmosphere right now, it's like 10 years of traffic in LA.
Right. So shouldn't we be focusing
be focusing on the fires and forest maintenance?
All right. Yes.
Some of these fires are still undetermined why. Of course, we all know the gender reveal party is the reason for the I think it's the Yucaipa El Dorado fire. Somebody, we talked about it. It was an explosion to see if it was blue or pink, and turns out it was a 1,000 dead deer and multiple structures. We still don't know if it's a boy or girl. Another fire recently was one homeless person setting another homeless person's encampment on fire because he was mad at him. A lot of them seem to be that we're living in places.
You can spare us. You can spare us the because he was mad at him part of the story.
just assume
someone lights your tent on fire, they're disgruntled. Yeah. No.
And also we're
not even a stern warning. I'd say we're pretty much past that. We're into hates you.
We're a lot of communities, bedroom communities, are being built in forested areas that didn't have, human error and people there living there 50 years ago. A lot of the brush hasn't burned in 50 years. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of stuff.
I don't know what our plan is, but I feel like we need a plan.
The plan is to keep renting super scoopers from Canada and hoping for the best.
Isn't there a way to manage the forest? I always hear there's a way to manage it. Then I hear, no, you can't do that. That's bad for the environment or bad for the forest. But I feel like we need some comprehensive plan. Is there places that do it and they manage it and then we just do what they do?
All of Canada?
Canada?
And ironically, the fire departments, depending where, they do controlled burns. You do them yourself, so you are in control of the burn area. But and I've learned this since working at the news station, if the fire goes uphill, it goes much faster because it's heating up the ground right in front of it, and it just rips through. And these places haven't burned in decades, so anything is just now. We have a little bit of a marine layer, which is helping a lot, whatever. But this whole state and half of Oregon is literally on fire. I mean, you could look at any fire map, Google it, and it's everywhere.
How are you guys reacting to the air? So I was with Dr. Drew for quite some time today, and Dr. Drew is wired like a French piano. He's just I'm wired. I'm wired like an old refrigerator. Like I just plug me in, I'll just keep running. It's fine.
Lead.
Yeah, this whatever. A couple kids are going to get locked in me and die every year. But Drew is so sensitive. Like, he'll come in, he'll be like coughing and his eyes will hurt and stuff like that. He's generally, we had this interesting discussion about, he just has a delicate wiring. Whatever, if there's a medication, a sleeping medication, he has to break it into a quarter. He has to take the pill and bust it into a quarter, because if he takes the whole pill, he'll pass out where he's standing, and he's just, everything is very delicate and he's very sensitive. So I have no effect. It doesn't do anything to me, but it does a lot to Dr. Drew. And then I guess it does something to everybody sort of in between. Does it affect your throat, your eyes, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
It's thick outside. I mean, you can see it.
Bad.
You can smell it.
I have asthma, and and since that mold and shit from that horrible place I lived 2 years ago, it really fucked up my lungs, and I guess it gave me cadmium poisoning, according to the doctor. So from someone who has a medical degree maybe can explain it to me better. But the way I understand it is now I'm like allergic to smoke. So if somebody smokes around me, or if I take a drag of a cigarette or something, I can't get it out. It just sits in there, and that's when I just start feeling like feverish and shit.
It's
so
thick
it's
out
no
there.
Good.
You can see it and you can smell it. It doesn't bother me per se, but I wouldn't go for a jog. That's for goddamn sure.
No.
Christy's the French piano. Like, if there's any change in the air, anytime, she'll claim she can notice it and feel it. I have not one iota of reaction to the air, extreme or otherwise, until I go outside and I can smell. Like, if it smells like someone barbecuing, I'll notice that. Otherwise, not one fraction of a reaction.
It's interesting, the hypervigilance I have.
I got other things wrong with me.
Oh, really?
You can, the thing about hypervigilance is they're always talking about sight and hearing, but it's scent too. It's you're sensitive to everything is ramped up, and it's funny because Natalia has that. I had to put the door sweep under her door so the hall light wouldn't go in there. Oh yeah, I fucking made her door sweep. Now, the thing that's interesting is she'll say like, oh, let's go to the beach, and I'll go, okay, and she'll go, drive mom's car, and I'll go, why? I'll drive my car, and she'll go, your car smells like coffee. And I do drink coffee when I drive into work, but I don't spill coffee when I drive into work. I just drink coffee.
Essence of coffee.
When I drive into work. I don't do a lot of coffee drinking in my car, but in the morning, I have a cup of coffee as I drive into work. It's not in a commuter thing. It's just in a coffee mug. So it's open. This will be a Saturday or Sunday. It's not like I drank coffee in the car within 24 hours. She's decided that my car smells like coffee. I don't know why she didn't like coffee.
I was going to say, she finds the smell of coffee displeasurable? Everyone loves the smell of coffee.
Maybe it's overpowering to her. Maybe she really smells it. She has dog nose.
I will tell you, when you are hypervigilant, you notice everything and everything bugs you. So sometimes it's not a choice like, oh, this smells good and this smells bad. I mean, you get a little bit older, you can figure out the difference between hobo ass and jasmine, I suppose. But I mean, she's literally, the fact that she smells something bugs her.
Does she have a problem with people eating and chewing?
Yes.
That usually goes hand in hand.
So he's telling Sonny to shut your mouth. You're chewing, you're talking, you get your mouth open when you're chewing. She's telling me to shut my mouth all the time. Like, all that stuff, and it makes you detail oriented. You notice everything. It can be used for good. She of course chooses to use it for evil, but it can be used for good. But that hypervigilance, man, it's all encompassing, and you just notice everything, and it, for the most part, everything bothers you. But on the other hand, you can write some books and make some money if you want to try to turn it in a slightly different direction.
Is she becoming super organized, or doesn't really spill over to like cleanliness and like the room has to look a certain way? Or
I'm thinking about that. No, and it doesn't really manifest itself with me in being very sort of anal and organized. I like stuff organized, but if you walked into my office right now, it would look kind of like a mess. So it doesn't have that. I'm trying to think what the syndrome we're talking about is, where you just walk around cleaning everything all the time, and OCD, yeah, OCD. It's not OCD. It feels OCD, but it doesn't manifest OCD. You don't have rituals. You don't have to do. You just notice everything, but you don't have to walk around the street light twice. Otherwise, you're going to get hit by a car. And you don't need everything. I can't have the black socks and the white socks in the same drawer. There's almost none of that. It's sort of the opposite of OCD. You're so insanely pragmatic that everything bothers you. Yeah. That's everything that's not done efficiently or it's like. That's
fun for Sonny and Lynette.
It's good. It's why I'm driven insane by the electronic street signs that are above the freeway. Like, I can't believe we're wasting all this real estate on nothing. It's driving me nuts. Like, why does it drive me nuts? Because it's an insane waste to me. And meanwhile, we live in a town where no one uses their turn signal. And we could easily get them to do it if we made a campaign and put it on that sign of using your turn. What would be an easier campaign to achieve? It's not like you'd have to go, well, I got to go to the True Value hardware store and buy some sort of turning signal conversion kit for my car, because my car, every single car manufactured has a signal. 40% and 70% of the people in this town don't fucking use their turn signal. Wouldn't it be a super easy proposition to make it a campaign, put it up on all those signs, and get them to use their turn signal?
Anyway.
They have the sign anyway, right? So that I see click it or ticket, or the force may be with you, but not the CHP if you're going to drive drunk or whatever it is, and then I get angry. Sorry, go ahead.
I am so glad you brought that up, because I have somebody that you could talk to. Granted, he's in Madison, Wisconsin. And I'm saving this for just such an occasion. NBC 15 in Madison, Wisconsin has posted a feature about a man whose job is the elusive sign on the freeway.
Really?
And I want to tell you a little bit about him. It's a feature of this guy named John Ryman, whose job it is to create punchy freeway signs to get drivers to slow down. His title is the communication manager with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. He says the most fun part of his job is coming up with the slogans like Hocus Pocus, Drive with Focus. And that's the temperature, not the speed limit. It says, though Ryman says he considers himself a creative person, he does get help from a creative team he calls the Creative Traffic Safety Message Committee. He says the driving force behind each message is to eliminate accidents. Another one of Ryman's favorites is Baby Yoda always rides in a car seat. Be safe, he will. So that's who you're dealing with.
First off, all you have to do to put on those signs, if you want to just generally slow people down, you don't have to get cute and wordy. You just write, is that a cop? That's all. Mm-hmm. Every time you pass by, you go, is that a cop? It just reminds you that there's a cop. Is that a cop? Is that guy behind me a cop? Like with the headlights on at night? Is that a cop? Is that a cop parked down there on the shoulder? Like, you just put, is that a cop? And that's all you need. You don't need to get into Star Wars or anything. You just go, is that a cop?
Do you remember your other idea? Have you exercised today?
Stop blaming your parents.
Yeah. Stop blaming your parents.
It's a personal one. Just use the signal, or have you exercised today, or after you, or let's be polite, or something. Just anything. I don't know, this weird, also a bizarre obsession with speeding. You know what I mean? I'm saying like an obsession. You know what I mean? Like everyone I know drives on an open highway. Every human being I know, including myself, drives between, you drive about 10%, 10 to 15% faster than the posted speed limit. 15%, let's say. If it's 65, you drive at 75. Sure. That's kind of the norm. That's every human being I've ever met. I don't know people that drive 140 miles an hour when it's 65. People drive just at the edge of, if they spot a cop, if they lift, can they not get a ticket. You know what I mean? There's that Mason-Dixon line of you can go above the speed limit, but you can't go that much above the speed limit. And about 10 or 15%, whatever's posted. If the street says 35, then you drive at 42. You know, it's just a kind of an algorithm there. I don't know anyone who's an excessive speeder. And if, in fact, you are an excessive speeder and you do see these guys every once in a while, you're driving home at night and the guy's going on the full bonsai run in the Corvette, the sign is not going to dissuade the guy who wants to go 160 in his C7R Corvette.
No, and to that point, if one is speeding, we'll say going 20, 30 miles over the speed limit, anecdotally, I can say when I'm speeding, I am hyper focused on driving. You know, if you're kind of meandering, you might be looking around. If I'm speeding, driving is the only thing on my mind.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I'm not distracted.
When you take a look, like if you were going to say to aliens, come study our culture, and then we would interview the aliens and go, what are your takeaways? They'd go, they're obsessed with speeding, secondhand smoke, and having discussions about race. That would be what the alien would say. This is really where this is what they're really obsessed with. Although nothing ever really changes. It's just talk of speed. Slow it down. Just slow it down. I feel like people have gotten the message, right? Anyone who lives in SoCal, CHPs everywhere, you want to drive 90 miles an hour everywhere, you're not going to make it. I mean, here's the dealio. If you get into your car in Pasadena, California, and you announce, I'm going to go to Ventura County and I shall average 90 miles an hour, you're not going to make it. You're going to get a ticket. It's impossible. You can't get in your car and go, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to average 90 miles an hour. No, you will not. I'm going to hop on the Grapevine. I'm going to average 90 miles. No, you will not. You will not make it without getting a ticket. It's understood. Everyone's been there. Got it. Moving on. Let's go on to fucking turn signaling, please. What do you got, Gina Grad?
Well, there's all kinds of COVID-19 stuff in the news. There's no shortage of that. And we pretty much know everything about everything at this point. But I bet you didn't know this. The race for a coronavirus vaccine to help the pandemic has consumed science, the communities all over. But there's a demand for something, an essential resource that there's a major shortage of right now because everybody is trying to work on this around the world at the same time. Any guesses as to what is in short supply so they can get this vaccine figured out?
Hugs?
No, but you're not as far away as you
I
could
feel
be.
Like that is, we are at a deficit of hugs.
Yeah.
People
Is
need
something equipment-wise, like hypodermic needles?
Nope,
people need hugs
it's hugs.
because of where we're at.
That's right.
People were meant to hug.
Yeah.
That's why
There should
we
not be a
have
shortage of hugs.
2 arms and not 1 arm or 3 arm or an odd number of arms for hugging.
No.
Arms are for hugging. It's been so long since we've hugged. Gina, when have we hugged last?
Oh, God, months at least.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to guess hugs, which are in the
hugs.
shortest of supply.
Okay.
Is it a shortage of volunteers or people who've had COVID?
Close.
I was
You're
thinking.
closer.
I thought it was going to be like nickel cadmium or something. Like I thought it was going to be some heavy metal or something that they all needed to use to make a
That makes
vaccine.
sense.
But
I'll tell you what's in short supply right now for vaccine testing: monkeys.
Ah,
So before drug companies call on human volunteers, monkeys are used in preclinical trials to test a vaccine's safety. But with more than 100 vaccines in development at the same time, there aren't enough monkeys to go around.
ooh, wait a minute. Remember disgraced monkey handler Bobby Baracino?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this is his time to reclaim his name.
what happened to all those monkeys? They're at Hef's place.
Yeah.
Oh, the little spider monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh.
They had the
Well,
cage there, yeah.
Here's the deal. Non-human primate research centers have been strained in recent years because of restrictions on imported monkeys from China and India and lack of funding to support domestic breeding, this according to USA Today. And of course, animal rights activists condemn using primates in experiments anyway. Researchers say it's essential for development of medical science. There's nothing we can do.
But Pam Anderson says no.
She says, take me as a tribute. So the small number of animals necessary to do this is slowing things down.
This does shine a light on all these nut jobs. We're like, we don't use you can't use Yeah, I know. We're in the middle of a pandemic, bitch. What do you want to do? Like, what's the plan?
We're trying to save humans.
Trying to save humans, sorry.
And this always makes me think of like the
By the way,
toaster
you don't
talk.
think monkeys would test shit on us?
Oh,
I've seen Dawn of the
Probably.
Planet of the Apes.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I saw that
you know what
doc.
they're capable of.
Yes.
That doc.
Well, I mean, that's how it would go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about like we really haven't improved the toaster, really, we're still using the same stuff. It's kind of the same with monkeys because my mom's dad was a very famous in his field, very well-respected pathologist, scientist. And we'd go there, you know, and the basement was full of microscopes and magnifying glasses and stuff. And it was really exciting. But when my mom was little, she used to go with him to the lab. And one of the famous stories in our family was my grandfather stepped out to get something from another room and the gorilla or some huge monkey was in a cage there, and slowly it pulled his hand out to grab her ponytail to like slam her against the bar. And my grandfather ran in at the nick of time and saved her. So this is what they do. Do we love it? Do we wish there was another way? Of course, but this has been going on because our DNA is similar. Mice, same thing.
Your family had some winners in it, Gina.
I know.
And something happened.
I know.
I feel like you were on a roll at some point.
We were. There were some. He was brilliant and famous, and look at us.
Gina was going to be the next great Japanese stage actor.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I should be doing Suzuki work in Tokyo right now.
Yeah, I feel like Brian and my family are a little more consistent in the loser department, but you guys had some spikes in there.
Yeah. Photographic memory. I got none.
Well, it's like I told Dr. Drew all those years ago. And it's true. I said, look, I used to tell Drew when we did Loveline, I was like, your kids are going to be living in a much smaller house than they grew up in. And he's like, I don't think he really knew what I was talking about, but I was like, my entire life and for every generation that sort of came before, it was sort of like, I grew up in a 900 square foot house. Of course, my first apartment was as big as the house I grew up in, and I now live in a much better place than I grew up in. But there's a very good chance Dr. Drew's 3 kids are not going to live. It's not all about square footage, but they're not going to live in a place that's as big or as expensive or as nice as he grew up in. And you're not going to be as smart as your grandpa. All right,
true,
next story.
But adjusting for where you live, I too could get a split level ranch in Kansas right now.
That's true.
But not here.
Well,
not get a split level ranch in the valley.
That's what I was getting mad about when I was hearing about the homeless buildings, or the building low cost housing for homeless. Yeah, it was over $500,000 for the
each unit.
Each unit was over $500,000, which gets you some acreage in Kansas.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just for fun. Cause I've been looking at houses and now doesn't seem like a great time for California. But, I was like, just to torture myself, what could I get for $350 in Kansas City? I'd live like a king.
Yeah,
so
the
much
mayor's mansion.
Oh my God. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So moving on with other COVID changes, little tweaks, all the networks, all the game shows, everybody has to tweak a little bit so they can get back on schedule. And that also goes for Wheel of Fortune. They're going to start tweaking things. You'll notice a few changes when it returns on Monday. And their protocols are basically going to be testing contestants, spacing everybody out. The contestants have to stand 6 feet away, so they're going to have to do some camera magic, and there's going to be some big, giant screen. But the thing that you'll probably notice the most is each contestant has a spinning cap. What's a spinning cap?
Oh, they're not touching the same wheel?
Yeah, a little pouch they have to put over their hand so they can spin the wheel without freaking everybody out. And that's probably the most you're going to notice for Wheel of Fortune, except obviously no audience.
in the pantheon of shitty toys from my childhood, they had something called a sit and spin.
Yep.
You just sit.
And you turned the thing?
You just turned this knob. Well, the knob didn't turn. You turned around it.
Oh.
The knob was like stationary, and I think you just turned yourself. You turned you around this knob, which is, I don't know how long that could have lasted. And by the way, if your 7-year-old is really enjoying the shit out of the sit and spin, like, where's Tommy? He's spending hours every day just going in his. You got to get that kid some counseling. There's an issue there. Like, there is something deeply broken and emotional about that. But yes, they had the sit and spin, which also kind of looked like the wheel spin. I think it was like was the sit and spin, did it look like the rainbow spinner when you lost your connection on your computer?
Oh, like the little beach ball?
Was that the little beach ball spinner? I'll let...
also,
they still make these, so I'm looking for an older
They still
one.
make them?
Yeah.
Isn't sit and spin an insult? Like, sit and spin.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
I think they'd say sit on your thumb and rotate.
Oh, okay. So it was shorthand, sit and spin.
It was a more aggressive version of take a long walk on a short pier. Yeah, this is more you violating yourself rectally with your thumb.
Got
so it's a little more aggressive.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, I have seen people give the finger and say sit and spin.
Right.
Sit and spin, kids should flush you, sit and spin.
Hey, look, he's having fun.
They join in, spin.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh,
New kids.
They do everything with this weird this weird military cadence they do all the time back then.
With the whistle.
Kenner's sit and spin. You put it together.
By the way, this just got worse. You put it together.
Maybe don't mention that.
I got bored of that activity during the length of the commercial. That's not a good sign. You know what I mean? Like, most shit makes it through the end of the commercial before I get bored. Those kids look bored while shooting the commercial. How fast does that fucking wear off? Unless you're like training to be an astronaut or something. I'm going to sit. I'm just going to go in a circle.
Gary just texted me the Urban Dictionary for sit and spin, a polite way to tell someone to go fuck themselves.
There you go.
So, there you go. A good name for a children's toy. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is finally coming to an end. The family voted to end the reality show with their 20th season. That'll arrive next year. Kim also made it very clear that there will be no documenting of Kanye's mental health issues. And instead of, they're going to focus on the rekindling of Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson. They're going to focus on the return of Rob Kardashian, and they're going to keep the cameras off Kanye. Why are they ending? Well, a source told TMZ there's a lot of reasons, but
they've run out of film. Right? I mean,
they'd like to keep going.
If they could make money doing another season, they'd do it. They must be out of the product that they used to capture it.
Also, talk about working smarter, not harder. Their social media makes them so much more money that it's not worth it to do the TV show. When you have hundreds of millions of followers and you get $1 million per, post about, take this green tea shake, why do anything else?
It was funny. I was watching my TMZ last night, and they were breaking this story, and they showed a picture of the opening of season 1. I guess it was a season 1. Everyone looked young. It. Oh, we do. Okay, it's kind of mind blowing, especially the whole Caitlyn Jenner part of the whole. That's
exactly why I wanted you to see it. If we could put up the picture, and not even Caitlyn. Look at little Kylie, who looked like a regular little girl from anywhere.
She only had one implant back then.
Do we have it?
Like any 7-year-old.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thin lips and freckles.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up.
She had my first implants. Right. The picture you're showing is not the picture. It's not the one I was looking at.
Oh, this was the promo shot from the first season.
Yeah, the one I had was like the opening, probably from the actual opening of the show.
It was very sort of Austin Harris,
yeah,
and like the girl, and Kim's the wacky one because she's so fucking full of personality. She's like running around and they can't catch her. And it's like, oh, she's the wacky one.
How long did that last?
Yeah.
It was all several seasons. As one who's been tortured by the show for years, it's several seasons.
I've never seen it.
It's also weird in that they're Armenian, you know what I mean? And we don't have a lot of, like, the culture isn't very, of course, we love black culture. We have all the black icons and sports people and Barack Obama, LeBron James and stuff like that. And then there's different cultures and different versions, but it's Armenian. It's not, Mark Garagos, I don't know. Casey Kasem, it's not really like, oh, are they Armenian? Like, we love that. It would seem like a tough sell, like originally. And it just goes to show, look, if people are good looking, we'll watch. I think that's kind of the story. Yeah. The opening, Max Apatow, like season 1, not the promo shot, but just the opening role where, it's kind of Ozzy and Harriet. Yeah.
Well, while he's looking for that, I can give you the update on the Jerry Lewis telethon. I don't know if you saw that on TMZ already.
No.
Taking over for Jerry Lewis, it's going to be Kevin Hart.
Oh,
he signed on
I thought
the next one.
I thought Chris D'Elia was going to do it this year.
He was.
I don't know. That might have been scrapped.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that seems queer.
Kevin as a ringer, maybe. So the telethon to fight muscular dystrophy, which was hosted by Lewis until 2010, is coming back for a 2-hour event on October 24th. The Muscular Dystrophy Association announced that it will now be called the MDA Kevin Hart Kids Telethon, and everyone will be on it. Eva Longoria, Michael B. Jordan, Jack Black, Usain Bolt, Josh Gad, and they'll raise money for both the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation and Kevin Hart's charity Help from the Heart. HART. It'll be streamed, of course. Jerry Lewis, any guesses on what year he did the first telethon?
Oh, God. 1971.
70. I don't know.
66.
Wow. Yeah. What do you guys, when I say Jerry Lewis, what do you think? Just sort of first thoughts.
Angry?
No, Nutty Professor. That's where, hey, ladies.
I think
what
his
about
last interview?
Yeah. What after that, Brian? Our secondary thoughts.
The telethon. Later in life, he was a little cranky. He had the swollen head and all that stuff. So first, wacky comedies and then telethon.
I think so. I think we're angry old guy. I think, and that's why, you have this whole body of work and then you give some shitty interviews at the end and then you leave. You know what I mean? It's like, I think of telethon. I think Nutty Professor. I think all that, but I also think, that guy was angry. He was mean, and I'm like, why do I have to think that? I shouldn't know that. You know what I mean? I should know he's the telethon guy and the Dean Martin.
Yeah, Martin Lewis.
Lewis. That's what I know that, but I also know, he was an angry douchey guy.
All right, clear out.
Right.
Clear
out.
Like,
why do I know that? I shouldn't know that. All right, Max Valley, there's no opening to the show?
There is. Yeah, I was just waiting for you to get
okay.
finish that story.
We'll watch Kardashians.
All right, we're ready.
No. You're right here.
The wind, you guys? Is necessary?
The whistling thing.
No, that is not cute.
Yeah, go on. I need someone to make me laugh.
Where's Kim?
Kim is
Skinny
always
Rob.
late.
Oh, where's Kim? Oh, she's off doing something crazy.
oh, she's so crazy in front.
Enough.
Yeah, it's that.
We're done.
That final picture. Yeah, they look. Everyone's a little kid, and Bruce is Bruce. Bruce is the dude.
The lips are a natural ratio.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.